What's up, everybody? And today we're going to be taking a look at the rest of the Jazwares Five Nights at Freddy's first wave. We're taking a look at all of the toy animatronics. But first, before we get into the figures, let's take a look at the packaging. So this is the packaging for the multi-pack. I went ahead with the multi-pack because, when I was originally buying these figures, I found only one of them, which was a Toy Freddy, so now I have two Toy Freddys. But then I found this multi-pack at Target, I think a week after or so, and it had all of them, so I was like, you know what, I'll just pick that up. So if you want all the toy animatronics, you can pick them up at Target in this multi-pack, and you can get all of them all at once. And I honestly really hope that they continue to do these multi-packs for Target and everything. But the box is much like how we've kind of seen before, especially with the Endo series, which was the last video that I did. Critter still has the glowing eyes and the jump scare action and everything, and says who you get right here. Mostly the box is the same, including like the background on the inside. Same thing for pretty much the sides. On the back, you just get a look at all the toy animatronics. Bottom, nothing crazy. Top, pretty much the same thing. So that's pretty much it for this packaging, but if you're wanting to be interested in what the single card packaging is, this is what the single card packaging looks like and everything. So if you do see this, and you will see the specific character that you do get on the side here. I did pick up a second toy Chica because there's something I do want to show in this video that I did. Then on the back, pretty much basically the same stuff, just shows which figure that you did get. So that's pretty much it for the types of packaging. So the figures at hand. Didn't do really a little crazy little zoom transition here for it because there is a lot to look at. So here are all four of them, and they look absolutely amazing. I love these toy animatronics. So in this segment, I'm just going to take over and look over the details really quickly. Then I'll just show some of the action and stuff with them. But first, let's go over the details. So, I guess I'll just start out with Toy Freddy, because he's fat. He's fat as shit. But yeah, here is a Toy Freddy. Nice, big, and round. Just absolutely huge. But you got the nice little painted bow tie and buttons there. Very nice paint jobs on these figures. They're very, very accurate. And they're pretty well put together. Now, the first Toy Freddy that I did get had a very loose leg, which was really bad, so just be mindful. Sometimes you might get some issues here and there. But overall, I really do like these. And all these figures are pretty much built the same, except for Mangle. Mangle is the exception. They do have these screw covers, which I do want to mention. I love the screw covers. I think it's really great. Just makes the whole overall sculpt just very, very clean and smooth and everything. I really don't like the big button sticking out the back, but I understand it's for the gimmick and everything. But overall, this is a very nicely done looking Toy Freddy. Super accurate. His head did look a little flat, but I did check back, and that is pretty accurate to Toy Freddy. As for Bonnie, Bonnie's done pretty well. I wasn't sure about his coloring, but it seems to be very accurate too. Love the paint work on the face and everything. Overall, these guys have some pretty clean paint jobs. I really do love these figures a lot. I do wish that the ears had some, articulation stuff, but we'll get into articulation shortly. Overall, the color is really nice. You do have this tail. It is removable for some reason, but you do have the tail and everything. Honestly, I didn't even realize that Toy Bonnie had a tail until this figure, because then I had to go look at references and everything, and he does in fact have a tail. I never knew that. I don't know why I did not know that. But yeah, overall very nice. Does have the same screw covers and everything on the back. So he's very, very clean. Absolutely love this Toy Bonnie. So excited that we got toy animatronics. As for Toy Chica, look, we all know about Toy Chica here. Let's be honest with each other.
Damn, she thick as fuck. What do I do?
longtime FNAF fans know about Toy Chica. Just don't look her up on Google with your private browser or any other type of specific website. That's unless you want to see that. But anyway, take a look at the hot chicken here. Um, yeah, overall, very nice. Mine does have a bit of a oh shit. Mine does have a little bit of a paint error there on the stomach. But other than that, no other issues. Um, the paintwork on the bib and everything is done super well. Absolutely well done, and they did get her curves pretty right. But anyway, enough of being a gooner and shit. Uh, Overall, the sculpt work is amazing. I mean, this looks exactly accurate to the game. Just absolutely perfect. I love these figures so much. Again, just another really good sculpt. As for Mangle, Mangle is kind of crazy. So you have this huge amalgamation of parts and everything. You do have to put her together. I had to look at a little bit of references just to make sure I was putting her together the right way. So I wanted to make sure it was accurate. Now we will be customizing these figures. What video of mine would it be if I didn't do a little bit of paintwork and customization? I just gotta. So I will be doing mostly working on Mangle because she could use a lot of paint. The others, I'm not too sure because they honestly look pretty perfect, but Mangle definitely needs a little bit of a touch-up. So you got this very nice sculpted endoskeleton work here. There is a ton of articulation on her that I will go over and everything. Um, but yeah, very nice sculpt work. Just insanely nice detail going on here, especially the head and everything. And they even got the one eye there, which is just perfect and accurate. Um, beautiful figure. I absolutely love it. Now there is a slight inaccuracy with this foot, but I understand this figure on its own is only $10, so they shortcut it a little bit by just giving her like a double foot, even though she doesn't have a double foot. She should have just like one foot here and then one other leg here with a foot. I understand why they did it, but to be honest, it does not detract from the figure in my personal opinion because it still looks accurate and amazing, just minus that one little thing. But I'm not going to be too nitpicky. I mean, these things are absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy that we got these. Um, there is one thing I do want to address really quickly before I get into the action feature and articulation and everything and whatnot. But obviously, I'll do the action feature, but then I'll paint them and then I'll articulate. I mean, you guys get the gist. Anyway, there's something I do want to address. Now, when you're buying these figures, I didn't have this problem at Target with this multi-pack. I didn't have that problem. It was when I got the single-carded Chica. Now, I also didn't have a problem with when I got the Endo series, because I got those at Walmart, and I also got the single-card Chica at Walmart. But it was obviously, it was a different Walmart I went to, and everything. The Walmart around me where I got the Endo series doesn't really care about shit. I mean, clearly there's not even a lot of people working there. That Walmart's just awful. But anyway, when I was picking up a secondary single carded Chica, I had to show my ID uh, in order just to buy it. Now, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. I mean, it's just literally a toy. And I get it. At Walmart, these are in the horror section. But at the same time, I don't believe Five Nights at Freddy's is really necessarily a horror franchise anymore. I mean, it's not really scary. It hasn't been scary since the fourth game, to be honest. And it's more so a kid's property now, which I also don't really agree with. I think that it never should have been a children's property. I think it still should have been like a very horror focused centric property, in my opinion. And if it still was, then okay, yeah, maybe then it would warrant the whole show an ID thing. But this franchise isn't even scary anymore. It hasn't been since the fourth game. So why do I have to show my ID to buy a plastic action figure that is predominantly now a kid's property? I just think that's a little bit ridiculous, and I think that kind of sucks because, like, in order, like, even if you're a kid and you just want to get these because you love Five Nights at Freddy's, you're gonna have to wait for an adult to buy it for you, which I think is kind of ridiculous. And the fact that these are pretty much selling out at a lot of different places, and they were kind of hard to get. I think that the whole ID thing should just be thrown out the window because of obviously a lot of factors, a lot of reasons that I personally believe and think. But it's just a bit ridiculous, and I think that's something that should be changed because I mean obviously I'm 23 now, but I was 22 when I picked up the Chica because my birthday was up recently. But even then, like, I still think it's a bit ridiculous. And I just wanted to mention that because I had a couple people, in especially this comment here in my last video talking about the whole ID thing, and I've wanted to mention that in this video, so here I am mentioning that, and it's the only time I'm really going to touch up on it. But yes, I don't agree with it at all, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Besides these figures having an amazing sculpt and looking pretty much accurate, they do have action features. So every single one of these figures has an action feature, and this is part of their world of line, so any figure that's in this specific line will have an action feature. I think it's kind of cool. That would be cool to be without it because it does limit one piece of articulation, which I will also talk about. So every single one of these has the same action feature. Mangle is a little bit different, but that button on the back, when you press that button, you get a little bit of a jump scare action, which I quite like. Some of them work a little bit better than others. I think it's a really nice action feature, if I do say so myself. And of course, I'll just show all their action features here. So here's Chica's little jump scare action. And it does move the arms and everything, but the cool thing is it does not hinder the articulation with the arms. You can still move the arms independently of the action feature, which I think is great. The only thing you can't move independently is, of course, the mouth. The mouth is tied to the button. So you just seen it right there, just snapped and everything. Because you cannot move the mouth independently, which sucks. But also the same thing that also sucks is you can't move the head because of the action feature. So there is no head movement. That is the only downside. Is no head movement. But there's Bonnie's. Bonnie's probably works the best, to be honest, out of at least the core three here. Mangles, if you see her here, the button is on the back of the head, and there's a button on the smaller head here. So you do have articulation, or the feature on the small head too, as well as the main head. But you kind of have to cover up a lot of the face for the main head one to work. So it's a little bit finicky and a little bit awkward, but overall, I really do love the action feature for these figures. I did also want to mention that the eyes do glow. I finally found a place dark enough in my room to actually kind of show it. Sorry if the camera quality in here is kind of bad, but you can see their eyes glow extremely, extremely well. Like if I put them all the way back here, I mean, just going that close, even that like singular eye on Mangle glows. I mean, I have never seen this type of eye glow before, but this is honestly genuinely crazy. And I did want to show this off because I remember in my Endo series when I could not find a dark enough room in my um, house to actually show this off, but thankfully now I can show this off, and oh my god, is it amazing. But with that pretty much all being said, let's see how much of a makeover I can give these figures, and then we'll take a better look. And here we have the toy animatronics all repainted up and looking a little bit better. Now, there are some things that I did do that were kind of just something I kind of wanted to do. I just felt like the toy animatronics just felt a little bit too matte. Like, they just had too much of a matte finish, in my opinion, so I just kind of decided to give them a gloss coat to make them feel a little bit more toyetic, if that kind of makes sense. Um, so obviously, toy Chica here. I applied a gloss to them to give them more of that toy animatronic feel. Same thing with Bonnie here and everything. They just feel more like the toy animatronics. Um, I didn't really do anything too crazy paint wise because I felt like they were already painted pretty well. so I didn't have to add any extra paint or anything. Just give them a gloss coat. Now it does kind of look like they are a little bit oiled up, Diddy style.
You need to hang up that computer call. Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantic.
But um, I just felt like they just looked a little bit more like the toy animatronics. Um, but Mangle here, I didn't do the gloss coats on the the head or the hands and the foot because the foot already had like a gloss look to it. And to be honest, Mangle does a lot of climbing around and a whole bunch of different stuff. And plus, the whole backstory with Mangle is that it's a pull apart, put together attraction. So her kind of gloss shine would probably dull down canon wise. So I decided not to give her a gloss coat to make her have a slightly just duller look anyway. Um, but what I did do is I painted the entire endoskeleton silver, and then I applied a wash to it. So that way she looks a little bit more dirty and grungy looking, and honestly a little bit more accurate. And then I also painted the eye lids here because they were pink. Now I just painted them this gunmetal gray because there wasn't a whole lot of references for Mangle, so I kind of had to do a lot of guessing on figuring out what was the most accurate look and everything. And there was a lot of pictures where she had like wires coming down from like her neck right here, but then there were some pictures where those weren't even existing, so I kind of just skipped that. I didn't paint any of the wires because for the most part they seemed pretty accurate, and plus these wires are a bit of a rubbery material, and it would be very hard for paint to actually stick on it without like being really sticky and oily and rubbing off and everything. But yeah, Mangle didn't really have too much to work with in terms of too much to really do. But I did add something different. So my Endo series figures, at least for Withered Bonnie, I cut the top of the endoskeleton jaw off. And then it got me thinking, what if I cut the top of the jaw on the other endoskeleton for Freddy? Because actually what I did is, and I'm not, oh shit. I don't really care that it was missing from the other animatronics here because, it's not too big of a deal, but Mangle has an inner mouth in the game when you get jump scared. So I added the inner mouth on the inside of Mangle here using the Endo series um, endoskeleton jaw pieces. So I just put those in there, and me cutting off the jaw pieces did not ruin the Endo series figures at all whatsoever. Because they will be in their weathered forms anyway, and you won't even see this part of the endoskeleton in there. So this worked out quite well and quite fine. The only reason, one of the reasons I did add this though, is because when Mangle opens her mouth, you can pretty much like see entirely in there, and it just felt very off that I could not see an endoskeleton mouth in there. So I did add that, paint it up, and apply the wash in. It does make it so that her jaw doesn't fully close all the way, but honestly, I kind of like that since it just kind of seems like she's already like a little bit broken. Just because that's just within character. Now, that isn't the only custom I did. As I've stated uh, in the middle of this video, or in this video in general, I did pick up a second toy chica. That's because I made a beakless version. Um, it's not my best work as far as the beakless version because I could not get the right color matching to happen, which does suck a little bit, and it is a little bit on the rough side. But I did put the teeth in there and paint everything up. Jump scare feature still does work if you wanted to use it, but I just pretty much cut off the entire beak, repainted the eyes, sculpted a little bit on the face there to get it as accurate as possible. When I was applying the gloss, though, for some reason the paint liked to smear on this one, so it's a little bit off. But I wanted to have a beakless toy chica, and so there now I have it. But yeah, other than that, that is pretty much all the custom work for at least the toy animatronics. So besides getting their brand new paint jobs, how well do they articulate? So as for articulation, as I pretty much stated, the core three animatronics here pretty much have the same articulation, although there are some limitations that I will go over. So obviously, the heads don't move on any of the three regular toy animatronics. The arms can move independently of the gimmick. You can move the arms all the way around and everything. So they work independently. It is a hinge right here that pretty much goes all the way up and down. Hinge and swivel at the elbow. Hinge and swivel at the wrists. They have pretty much full range of movement. So you get a good amount of movement out of uh, the hands and everything. Waists don't move. They do have drop down hips that drop down a little bit, so you can kick forward about that far, back about that far. Hinge and swivel knees. They are a bit rough, so careful. Stress marks will probably happen. Um, Bonnie's feet only really swivel. There is a joint in there, but it is so like sunken into the foot that I wouldn't even really bother. So that is Bonnie's limitation, which is his foot. Um, and maybe like some at the hips. Other than that, pretty much on par with the other ones. Chica is the most articulated. Um, you know, arms are the same. Obviously, no waist. Drop down, kicks forward a lot further, and kicks back a little bit further. Same for the legs, but she has more foot articulation, so her foot can go up that far and go back that far. So she has the most out of the regular three. And then as for Toy Freddy here, pretty much same all around. His independent arm movement works a lot better, but he has obviously no waist. His drop down works pretty good, a lot better than the others. And then his foot articulation is a little bit better than Toy Chica's to an extent, almost probably bordering on being the same. As for Mangle, though, Mangle is the most articulated just because she's pretty much just made out of all ball joints except for the two heads. There's a ball joint here at the foot, ball joint here, 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 here. There's another ball joint if you want to attach something. There's a big ball joint here. None of these move though. Has a swivel at the waist here. Ball joint right here at this section. Now there are ball joints here, but this head here is on a swivel. There's a ball joint right here, and then of course her head is on a swivel, and there's a ball joint at the top here. So Mangle is pretty articulated. Actually, very super articulated. But since we've kind of gone over a lot of the main stuff here, let's do a pose test. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little pose test. So now we will talk about the scale, but before that, here's the picture that I did edit for these figures and stuff, and there is my Instagram if you'd like to follow my Insta for more action figure related pictures, posts, and everything, and whatnot. So anyway, getting into the scale, first I want to um, compare them with their McFarlane counterparts. So, of course, there's Toy Chica, there's Toy Freddy, And then if I can get him, here's Toy Bonnie. And then here is Mangle. Mangle still has like a little piece on, so I guess I'll just hold her up. But they are next to their McFarlane counterparts. The toy anim these McFarlane figures. Now realizing because these were the only toy animatronic figures we've ever really had, not counting the VR wave from Funko. Because those I don't count those at all. But these were the only toy animatronic figures that we really had. And yeah, so Jazwares definitely really did a good job here. So that is them next to their McFarlane counterparts. So just get those out of the way. And then, just for shits and giggles, here they are next to a Funko figure, a very old custom Withered Foxy that I will not be finishing up because Withered Foxy is coming out soon from Jazwares. That's them next to a Funko figure there. And then if you were curious on the scale, here they are next to a Marvel Legends Spider-Man. So that's pretty much the scale. Pretty out of scale when it comes to a 6-inch figure. I think the Endo series was at a bit of a better scale when it comes to just pairing them up with other 6-inch figures. Here they are next to Spidey. And then here they are next to SH Figure Arts Deadpool, just to kind of get an idea of what they look like next to a Figure Arts figure.
Hey, did you see that hot-ass chicken back there? What you think my chances are with getting her number? Come on, man, I'm begging. Just give her my number. I'll do anything.
Okay, Deadpool, that was a bit weird. You wanted to not really speak last video when I did the Endo series, so it's a bit strange that you wanted to open your mouth now. But anyway, of course he wants to open his mouth when there's a Toy Chica figure here. What a gooner. Anyway, if you are curious, here they are next to the Endo series figures. And honestly, I've always kind of thought that the toy animatronics were smaller than the withered animatronics. So honestly, for me, this kind of honestly fits. And I'm pretty sure they actually were smaller than the withered animatronics in game. So this looks really nice right here. But yeah, that is pretty much it for all these size comparisons and everything that I wanted to do. So we'll move on to the final thoughts, and I'll talk about each figure individually, and then we'll end the video off there. So as for the final thoughts for the Five Nights at Freddy's toy animatronics, overall I really do like these. I think the World of figures are a nice little, cheap little $10 set, aside from the $20 Endo series. Toy Freddy looks pretty great. Toy Bonnie is definitely one of my favorites. I think he's painted the best and honestly just looks the best. My only gripes with this line is, even though I love the action feature, I still feel like they could have at least been able to make the head swivel in a way. Just put the button on the actual head itself, and then make the head able to actually swivel. Because Mangle's head can move, and of course, Toy Chica here is really, really great. Just an amazing figure. But yeah, I just feel like the feature definitely kind of holds these figures a bit down. Their waists definitely could have swiveled. Honestly, I would not mind paying $20 per figure if it had those extra articulation points. But Mangle is definitely the best out of the set. Super posable, super amazing. And her heads do move, even though it's a bit of a overall amazing set. And I'll catch you